Hello and welcome to the choo 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 Tacticus podcast. It is Friday, August 27th, and it is the dawn of a new era in the history of Churros Tacticus. Messi is gone. That's out of the way. That's been out of the way for a long time, but now the new superstar in town for the Clásicos is here. And by the time you listen to this, he may already be an official Real Madrid player. And if not, it is imminent. And so I'd like to welcome Kylian Mbappé to the Churros Tacticus podcast. Of course, he will never join the actual podcast, but we welcome him in spirit. You are now part of our lives. And you are here to terrorize Diego Lorin. Diego Lorin. Diego. How are you, my friend?
You were waiting for this. I was thinking that you were going to say this is the first in history because for the first time that I remember in a long time, you didn't ask me who was going to do the intro. And you just went straight to it.
Yeah.
And
I only ask if I'm pretty sure that, you know, you should do the intro, or like at least it's debatable, but this one wasn't debatable.
This one wasn't. And I thought maybe we were catching you in a sneeze or something with I wasn't sure if there were churros coming out or sneezes. Any case, I don't know, man. Look, you say it's imminent. Obviously, all the information lead us to believe that indeed the announcement can be made at any moment now. It's not a done deal yet, however. I feel like the top dogs over in PSG have got a trick up their sleeve that we're not necessarily fully aware of. I don't know if you've seen the rumors floating around, Kian, that in a likely case, let's say, that Mbappé goes to Real Madrid, that PSG might get Haaland, which would still make them just a terrifying prospect and opponent. But yeah, let's get into it because, of course, Mbappé moving or jumping ship and heading over to the capital of the nation of Spain to play for Real Madrid, to play for Los Blancos, is a terrifying prospect, to say the least. And one that only deepens the sorrow and the misery that us culés have been experiencing, for a good long time now. So, you know, how this is going to fit tactically, we're going to get into it. But the initial reaction, like I said, is one of worry. It's a sheer preocupación. I was going to say it's worrisome for us culés because just we're not in a good space right now of how, let's say optimistic or positive the preseason has been. I would say the general tone, the general sense within the club and within the fan base is still one of pessimism and disillusion, disappointment that seems to dwell on currently, for the moment at least. You know, in Can Barça things are not looking bright and looking up. I would say there's still so many pending things, so many things on the horizon that could still even make things worse. And I don't know if you know anything about that, Kian, but, you know, in November, Jamar Rodes, for example, the boss of the owner of, I don't know if he's the president of Media Pro, the organization, the broadcasting channel that has the rights of Liga and used to own the French Liga rights as well. A very powerful man. He is, of course, which was already known, he will take back the aval, a deposit that he borrowed to Joan Laporta so that he could, reach the financial obligations that come along with being inaugurated as club president. So, you know, I think we're talking 30-something million that he will retract, that we will retrace, and they have to be substituted. They have to be, replaced. And if not, things could get very dark for Laporta and his crew. So there are things lurking on the horizon that could deepen the depression and the sorrow that we're in. But the arrival of Mbappé, which you want to talk about, which is the story at hand, also adds another thick layer of tristeza, sadness upon us culés. So congratulations, Real Madrid. I've been talking for too long. This should be all you talking, Kian, and your joy of Mbappé, one of the best players in the world, joining your ranks.
I don't like you like this. I don't like when you're sad. It's not fun for me when you're sad. I like it when you're angry and salty. When you're sad, it's not as satisfying. I want you to be angry and mad so I can get more fired up about this. I don't want you to be sad.
I'm sad. It's also because it's the last day of holiday that generally comes with this depressing realization that it's back to the office soon.
Well, from our perspective, I mean, look, and this is just from now I'm talking about the perspective of the Real Madrid fan, and also in the context of the Clasico versus the Barcelona fans and how they might feel. And I don't know how aware you are of the discourse on Twitter, but and I don't engage with it, but I see it, and also mostly because at Managing Madrid, Om is always talking to people on Twitter and arguing with people, and then he tells me what people say, and I usually start to stay away from arguments and stuff. But for a long time, culés have always undervalued Mbappe because he's always wanted to go to Real Madrid. So they would always be like, man, he's not even that good, all this stuff, and so it's. But from a Real Madrid perspective, he's instantly beloved for these reasons. One, he's been pushing to come to us for a long time, and it's not he's like the anti-Odegaard who just wanted to leave. Mbappe's always wanted to push here, and you look at it, you look at the situations of Real Madrid and Barcelona. I mean, Real Madrid and PSG. Real Madrid are in a rough state. They're not nearly as exciting as PSG from a future vision standpoint, and even from a contention standpoint in Europe this season. He saw Zidane leave, he saw Varane leave, he saw Messi arrive, he saw Ramos arrive, he saw a bunch of players arrive that make that team stronger, and yet still he's pushing his way here, and that basically makes him just instantly beloved. And of course, he's also scored goals against Barcelona, and most recently a hat-trick. In
what he dubbed his best game in his career so far.
Mm-hmm. So for all those reasons, he is already one of us, and he hasn't even joined yet. Does that make sense? So he's like your
it was that case. It was that case. Yeah, it was that case for quite a while. I don't know where those culés are that you talk about that have undervalued, underrated Mbappe.
I think they're the bottom of the barrel. I think it's
okay.
in the next world when we die, there's different tiers of you're a really good person, and you're straight, you're on a beach sipping on a pina colada, non-alcoholic, and then in the depths, you the ones who are sent to the basement are the ones on Twitter who are with their anonymous profile, and they're just talking shit about Mbappe and Messi and Ronaldo. I think so we're not talking about the creme de la creme. It's just the bottom of the barrel Twitter people are having this discourse. So I shouldn't take it too seriously, I guess.
No, man. I mean, look, the arrival of Mbappe to any team, would be cause for jubilation, celebration, and dancing on the streets. As far as I'm concerned, you're talking about a very young but already established football player with immense talent, speed, technical ability. Obviously, his finishing is second to none. And in the case of Mbappé and Real Madrid, it has been somewhat of a relationship, a love story in the making ever since. In my opinion, I think those photos came out of Mbappé, a very young Mbappé, and his room, which was covered with Cristiano Ronaldo posters in the Real Madrid shirt. I think that's when it really became clear that there's really only ever going to be one team that he will end up signing for. And it's with the permission, of course, of PSG, that was sort of an in-between, let's say a trampoline for the youngster to try to, achieve greatness over with this state-owned team that is, trying to buy their way to glory days and Champions League success. That so far hasn't been able to do that. But with the team that they're building, they're almost, obliged or destined to at least win one trophy. Right now, whether it will be with Mbappe in this final season of the contract or not, I think we'll see the answer to that question in a couple hours' time. But for Real Madrid to land Mbappe, I mean, it instantly makes them La Liga favorites. I don't know if we can call them Champions League favorites. They certainly have to be, of course, always in the discussion as one of the teams that will aspire to win the Champions League because of the club that they are. But to make them serious Champions League contenders, I still think defensively this Real Madrid side is rather frail and weak. However, in La Liga, a more consistent competition where week in, week out, you're fighting for points, it puts them on the top of the table when it comes to being favorites alongside of Atletico de Madrid, who I still think are the hot favorites as things stand right now. So, I think it's such a good sign, and it's what's his name? Papa Flo. What's his name again? He's been, of course, paving the way to make this operation happen since, what should we say, Kian, last year already, with the sales of last year. I mean, these 180 million, if my math is correct, it adds up with the players that have been sold from Beran. Obviously, Ramos went for free, but all the other players that you are much more aware of their price, I think it more or less totals 180 million. So you're talking, a good 2 years that this transfer has been in the making. What Florentino Perez concerns, because he hasn't been making any key signings since then, or major signings, let's say, except for getting also Alaba again on the cheap. Renewing key players to the numbers of which I'm not entirely sure, but I imagine I'm talking astronomical figures when it comes to doubling, let's say, salaries and things of that nature. So he has the space and he has the money just right in order to land fish, the likes of Mbappe. Although what I found pretty interesting, and I started to get a little bit excited that maybe Papa Flo was getting on the bad side of Al-Khelaifi, because who said that he was going to talk. You remember? I don't know if you read that yesterday, Kian, but after the Champions League draw, which we need to get into also, he was asked about, obviously, the hot rumors and the elephant in the room at that moment, and he said that he would talk after the draw. He hasn't come out yet and said anything, but it seems that initial offer of 160 million didn't land well, was seen as a sort of a slap in the face, which is somewhat surprising, right? Seeing as we're talking about a guy that only has 1 year left in his contract and seems to be also determined to avoid any talks of re-signing and renewing his contract, and just wants to leave. So 160 mil is nothing to snuff at or scuff at. Is this scuff or snuff? I never know which one it is.
Scoff.
Scoff.
Yeah, I mean, look,
so,
if there's anything,
so if it goes up, just to end, so if it does go up to 180, I think PSG are making a deal of a lifetime, and Madrid finally get the guy that they want and we're destined to have.
Well, if there's anything that we can get behind as Real Madrid and culés together, it's that PSG are just awful. Terrible.
Absolutely.
And the outright hypocrisy of everything that they said, criticizing Real Madrid for their behavior and their approach to this, and like the way they did it with you guys.
Ridiculous.
I also think, like, this part of it I haven't seen been discussed, but first of all, there's nothing wrong with what Real Madrid are doing. And also, like, in my opinion, this is just a thought, really. It's not, don't take it that seriously, but just a thought. I actually think it's more disrespectful of Real Madrid not to offer the money now and say, hey, we'll just sign in for free next year. It's like, you know what? Because we like you, we have good relationships with you, We don't want to like not pay you at all for Mbappe. Here, let us pay you now so you don't have to. So because I think it's disrespectful for us to just take him off your hands for free. That's just a thought. I don't. But I think PSG took it the other way, and they're like, "How dare you not offer us 220 million?" But I think it'll land. I think 180, and that'll include the add-ons because it was at 170 plus 10 million add-ons from the last report that I saw, which was before we started recording the podcast.
Yeah, I mean, Marca are going to report this transfer